Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I know. Today I'm going to be doing a January wrap-up video. I got into a reading slump there towards the end of 2023, and I just didn't really read any after October. I kind of did, but starting this year I really wanted to get back into it. I've been really craving getting back into reading. So that's what I'm here for today, is to talk about the books I read, because I read 10 books in January. I'm really excited about them because I loved pretty much all of these. The first thing I read in January was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I think that's how you say her last name. I rated this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was a little slow starting for me, and it really didn't fully grab my attention until about halfway through the book. Now, my rating for it is really high still because I did enjoy it so much. I really enjoyed the characters, and once the story and plot really started progressing, I was really enjoying it. It was just a little bit of a slow start. Not saying that I didn't enjoy the beginning at all, because I did. It was just really slow going and making me go a little slow reading it. Once you hit halfway, it's I couldn't put it down. I love this book. I'm really excited to continue the series. The next book that I read in the month of January was actually a reread for me. And this book is actually, I think I put this in my books I want to reread video, which I'll link. This was also my favorite book in high school / series, this entire series. And that is Beautiful Creatures by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. This book literally is just my heart. I love it so much. The first time I read it, I rated it 5 stars, obviously, because I loved it so much. I did rate it a 4.5 this time around. I still am so obsessed with this book, these characters, the story. I was craving so badly to be back in Gatlin and in Ethan and Lena's story, because I just love them so much. They really just have a place in my heart that will always be there for them. There's always a place in my heart for them. The only reason I had listened to my rating for this book was because of how YA it seemed to me, which obviously it is a young adult novel, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's what I need. I need an easier book to digest. There's just a few parts at the beginning that I cringed at pretty hard, that I was that's just a little too much for me. But after a while, it either stopped getting cringy or I just didn't notice it anymore, because I just didn't really cringe at all anymore throughout the rest of the book, besides those few parts in the beginning. But oh my god, the end of this book, when I was reading it, I was listening to the audiobook, which I do with all of my books. If it's available to me, I will just listen to the audiobook with it. But I was listening to the end of the audiobook on my way back from the grocery store, and it was raining, and the scene that I was listening to at the end of the book, it was raining in the book, in the story, and the audiobook also had rain sounds over top of it, so it was just the real rain plus the fake rain, and the story it's raining. It was just I was crying, because the end of the book is kind of sad. There's some sad elements to it, so, but yeah, 4.5 stars. This book has my heart. I loved it. It was such a good reread, exactly what I needed. I am continuing my reread of the series. Also reminded me reading this because I recently rewatched the movie, because there was a movie made of this book, and it was not well done. It never got continued on, which does make me sad, because I do love the series, and I would have liked to see the rest of the books I would have liked to see the rest of the books adapted into movies, but they fucked us over with this movie, because I rewatched it and I was oh, this movie's good. It's actually pretty good. But then I like reread the book and I was like, that movie's trash. It's like not even really remotely close to the book. Like, I mean, I guess it is, but like there were just so many things that they changed that did not need to be changed for a movie aspect. Like they could have kept everything and just like shortened it a little bit, you know? Whatever. The next book I read in January is a continuation of a series that I'm reading, and it is Dune Messiah. This book was a masterpiece. I rated this a 5 out of 5. A lot of people like don't like this one in the Dune series. This book is significantly shorter than the first one and honestly the rest of them. I loved this book. I don't know. I was completely enraptured by everything that was going on. All of the like scheming and plotting and the political and religious themes were just like, I was eating it up. I loved this book. And I just loved the characters. And I know like continuing on, we're not going to see these characters really that much anymore. I think in the next one, like I will see like some of them, but I just know like the whole series is over like thousands of years. So I know that like obviously we don't stay with all of these characters. So that does like make me kind of sad, but I just am really excited to keep reading this series and figure out where it's gonna take me, you know. I'm really intrigued by where this series is going. But yes, love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. I won't accept any hate. Sorry. So the next book that I read in January was another reread for me. Even longer since I read this book. And this is actually the only book I ever read in this series. I think I might have like started the next one. I don't know if I ever finished it. I can't remember, like the second one in the series, but the first one I had definitely read, and I really want to reread it because I want to read the whole series. And that is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. This is the version of covers that I have of the series, and I love them so much. Each cover has like stuff from the book. So this one has the Helm of Darkness, the Lightning Bolt, the Trident, the Empire State Building in the back. And the spines have like columns with like different gods. So this one has Zeus on it. I rated this a 5 out of 5. It was literally so good. I think this book holds up really well. And like a lot of the stuff I did remember, but there were some things that were definitely like, I was like, oh, I don't remember that. But like, I kind of do now that I'm reading it, you know, but I didn't just like remember it on my own. So that was really cool. I'm really excited to continue the series. I know the next one is a little bit shorter. So the next book that I read, I don't own a copy of, so I'll put it up on the screen. It's called The Companion by E.E. Ottoman. And I read this on the Libby app, which is just like a library app. And it was a really super quick read. I really enjoyed it. It definitely has like some heavier topics that they talk about, but it's not like really, it's just like kind of like mentioned in like a couple chapters, and like, I don't know, it's like a no plot vibe book, and it's based around trans characters, queer relationships, poly relationship, some steamy scenes for those of you who like that. Very like cottagecore vibes. I read it in a day, I think, maybe like a day and a half, but I read it really quick. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I've said that. Overall, just really cute, quick read. Yeah. The next book is a book I finally finished. I started this last July, and I just never finished it. I just stopped reading it. I was like, I'm finishing it this month. Like, I need to get this off of my reading list. A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And I annotated this bad boy. You can tell where there's a section that I was absolutely obsessed with. I didn't stop reading this book because I didn't enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I stopped reading it because that was around the time I was kind of getting into a slump a little bit. And it just took me a long time to be able to pick this book back up because it was just intimidating me a bit because of how long it was, which I know the other ones are even longer, but at the time it's not what I wanted or needed. I thoroughly enjoyed annotating it. Really so beautiful. Yeah, I kind of do like a big flip through so you can kind of see inside. I didn't write a lot. It was more like highlighting and stuff. Some writing done more in this section, but I was very intrigued with this book. I really enjoyed the character development, especially Farrah's character development, because if you know, you know. Okay, that's all I'll say. The beginning of the book was very sad. Okay, but her character development was very beautiful, and I loved seeing it and seeing her even notice the differences in herself. You know, it was so amazing. And the romance, so good, so good. I already knew about the romance. It's hard to not be spoiled online. So I already knew that that was going to be happening before I started reading this book. The last like 80 pages of this was so crazy. I was just like, what is going on? And then like at the end of chapter 26, I was like, how am I supposed to go on reading this book? Because I don't want to anymore. Because I was just so angry and upset and mad. I forced myself to keep going because I needed to know what was going on and what was happening. And I'm glad that I did. I don't know. The ending like almost made me not want to read the next one because I am just like, oh, really? Like this is where we're going? But also I'm like, I'm intrigued to see what we're still doing, you know? This is definitely like not my favorite thing in the entire world. I know like everyone's obsessed with it and it's really good. I really enjoy it. And I'm sure the other ones, you know, there's a lot to it. But, you know, it's just not my fave. Even though, you know, this might say otherwise. But, you know, I'm doing this for funsies. I do want to annotate all of these because I have annotated the first two. Might as well annotate all of them, right? I rated this a 4 out of 5. I don't know if I said that. But yes. My next book I read was Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Let me tell you something. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. A lot of people say this is one of his weaker books. Like this is like his weakest novel. It is his debut novel. Let me tell you something. I loved this book. I don't care what people say. I know people have their criticisms about the world building and the character development for some of the characters. However, I loved it. I loved every single fucking bit of it. Okay, I loved this book. I like fell so deeply in love with these characters. Like I got so attached to these characters in a way that I was not expecting to get attached to these characters. And I think that the magic system was really interesting. The whole Elantris, you know, and Aeons and stuff, that was just so interesting to me. There were a lot of political and religious themes as well in this, and I enjoyed that aspect so much. Like that was like one of my main things about this book that I loved. I loved like whenever it was Serene's point of view and it was like I was getting all this political side of things. I like really like started enjoying Hrathen's point of views and like seeing the religious side and just like all the scheming and plotting between all these different characters was so insane. And I also loved the romance, even though it wasn't like a very prevalent thing in this book. And I guess that would be like my one critique, which obviously that's not the point of this book. It's not a romance book, it's a fantasy book. But I just really enjoyed their relationship. I wanted to see more of Raiden and Serene so bad. But what I did get, I loved. Ending was so good. I couldn't be happier with the way this ended, honestly. I really did enjoy the ending. And the last line, oh my god, if you know, you know. And oh my god, this book, I just really enjoyed this book. This was a really good read for me, and I'm so happy that I got to read this. Yeah, my first Brandon Sanderson novel. Loved it. So good. I'm really excited to read more of his books, and that's definitely the plan. Next, in the month of January, is a manga volume I read, and I read volume 4 of Death Note. I know this says 2. This is the black edition, which has 2 volumes in one bind up. Look at all that dust and cat hair. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I read volume 4 out of here. Volume 4 is called Love, by the way. And I loved it. It was really good. I rated it a 5 out of 5 stars, which obviously I know the story of Death Note. I watched the anime. It's one of my favorites. But I'm just reading the manga because I've never read it. So yeah, this was the first volume where Misa was introduced, and that's my favorite character, one of my favorite characters. So that was fun to see her finally in it, and I love these covers. Look how beautiful they are. The next thing I read this in a day, in a couple hours, which was the short Second Life of Bree Tanner by Stephanie Meyer. This is an Eclipse novella, so this is 3.5 in the Twilight Saga. This was fine. I just wanted to read it to have read it, and it's so short, and I knew that I could read it in a couple of hours. So that's what I did. I just read it in one sitting. It's fine, like I said. I rated it a 3 out of 5 stars. Could have rated it a 2.5, honestly. But I did rate it a 3, you know, whatever. I thought it was kind of interesting seeing like the newborn side of the story, because they really were like in the dark with a lot of what it was actually going on within like their army, which they didn't even really know was an army, you know. I thought that was kind of interesting seeing that side of things, but you know, there was like a random romance in here that like gave me nothing, even though I would have loved if it had given me something, but you know, circumstances. Yeah, like I said, it was fine. Nothing special. You could skip this and you really wouldn't be missing a whole lot besides, I guess, the knowledge of what was happening on the newborn side. Somewhat, because it's just from this girl's perspective, Bree Tanner. But yeah, it's fine. The next thing I read was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I read this the same day I read this. Literally read it in a day. Was just so enraptured by it. I just finished it pretty much in a sitting. Yeah, I love Harry Potter. Fuck J.K. Rowling. We don't talk. We literally fuck her. But I've never read the books, and the movies do have a very near and dear place in my heart. I've been wanting to read them. Love this cover. I just love the artwork. I rated this a 5 out of 5. I think I had started this years ago because I had read the first one, but just never finished the series. I think I had started this one, never finished it. Finally finished it. I just love these characters, the story. It's just so much nostalgia for me. These characters mean so much to me, and I feel like reading about them is making them just even closer and near and dear to my heart. So yeah, fuck this hoe. Fuck that hoe. That was actually all I read in January. All I read, like I didn't read freaking 10 books, okay? But this is still a pretty good haul, which this one too is only half, but you know what? That's okay. This is like pretty good. That's all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I plan on doing more videos soon. I have a vlog I filmed of me reading some of these books and talking about them and my feelings more in depth, I guess. So look out for that. This video I think is going to come out before that, and more reading vlogs, just other content in the future that I'm really excited about. Follow me on or add me as a friend, or follow me, whatever, on Goodreads. That's where I post my reviews first. My reviews first go there, and then they go to Instagram maybe a couple days later, maybe the same day. It really just depends on my like kind of uploading schedule on there. I've been trying to have a consistent uploading schedule so I can post once a day on Instagram. So make sure you follow me there, because that's also where reviews go next before they ever come to YouTube. So if you want to see that content first, follow me on those platforms. And then also don't forget to subscribe to here so you can see these monthly videos as well as other content that I'm really excited to do for you guys. And I'm just really excited. I'm like really excited about reading again, and I'm really excited about talking about books. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.